Ta-da! It's us again. Hi, people. We're the Leftist Lens. What do we do, Matt?
We tell people about the dystopian nightmare we live in, stuff that happened in the last week, and what we think about it.
It just gets better every week, doesn't it?
Yeah, this week's not quite as bad as last, but it's interesting. There's interesting.
Well,
things.
I don't mean better in like a qualitative sense. I just mean there's more fucking horror that happens, and that's grist for the mill.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, so this week we're going to talk about Korea because they impeached another president.
Yep.
Russia shot down an airliner, allegedly.
Fuck that allegedly. They shot down an airliner.
But first, let's talk about the MAGA Civil War, the tech bros versus the Christian Nationalists that's going on.
It's so beautiful. It's so... I don't know. Are you watching the chatter about it from the people that are not on our side? They have to be talking about it.
Yeah, I've seen some things. I don't know, because I'm on crypto Twitter, and crypto Twitter is a lot of MAGA. It's just basically MAGA. But they're more in the pocket of Elon. They love Elon.
Yeah, of course they do. So what's the backstory behind this?
All right, so it started when Trump nominated Krishnan. I hope I'm pronouncing that sort of right. To be his AI advisor in his upcoming presidency. Krishnan is a Indian-born Silicon Valley entrepreneur. I don't know what he did. I don't know how rich he is either. But Laura Loomer didn't like that. Laura Loomer didn't like that because he's Indian. So she tweeted about it. And then Musk saw that, chimed in. Musk then took away her blue check mark and demonetized her account. At least that's what she says. I mean, she might have done it herself just to say that. Who knows? But that is something Musk would do because he is schoolyard style.
He's a petulant child who pretends to be the champion of free speech. It's only his free speech that matters. People, wake the fuck up.
Yeah. On an aside, there was another, there was a post that somebody found on Reddit. It was something Elon said. I don't remember exactly what it was, but somebody posted it on Twitter, and Elon saw it and said, I wanted to know where he found it, and said it's fake, and where did you find it? And then he banned the account that posted it and deleted all the posts. So I think it probably wasn't fake. But yeah, so Musk didn't like that, and Vivek Ramaswamy and Musk have been on Twitter talking about how important it is to have people on H-1B visas to work in tech because, Vivek said American engineers are mediocre. We're too mediocre. And Musk just, admitted that he came here on an H-1B visa and said that it's good. So they've been fighting, and then Steve Bannon chimed in, Marjorie Taylor Greene chimed in. The people that want to ban all immigrants are against the people that want to ban the poor immigrants, but are okay with engineers that they can hire, software engineers that they can hire at a lower wage than they can hire an American worker. So that's what it's really about. And some of the dialogue has been really funny. Responding to a MAGA podcaster who was critical of the H-1B visa, Musk said, "Take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend." Who the fuck talks like that?
He's a fucking idiot. Jesus Christ.
So I don't know where this is going to go, and I don't know what the rank and file working class MAGAs think about this too much. I know most of them are completely anti-immigrant, so they're probably not okay with the H-1B visa. But Trump decided to chime in, and he sided with Musk.
So of course he did.
That'll be interesting going forward. Yeah, I guess Trump likes having Musk around. He likes having Musk at Mar-a-Lago because then the other rich people want to be around Musk, so they'll come there, and then it makes Trump feel really important. So,
Do you see the
president isn't important?
Yeah. Did you see the tweet that Trump put out that looked like it was probably supposed to be a direct message to Musk?
Yeah. That absolutely was supposed to be a DM. Absolutely. So weird.
Oh my God. But people are I see a number of people who are hoping that this is the tipping point for some people in terms of class consciousness and getting a better picture of who the real enemy is. And I have something of a hard time with that, because as you said, Marjorie Taylor Greene and the other MAGAs in that subsect of that gene pool are still the same people they've always been. They don't. It's so fucking weird. They don't want any immigration. They literally say no immigrants. They're not even delving into the minutia of it anymore and saying no illegal immigrants. They're just saying no immigrants. They've said this in.
Oh yeah, they believe in white America, 100%.
Yeah. And so while I think that this helps maybe pull together some of the dissonance in the left, and I'm talking about left from left to left of center, and in uniting that group of people toward the common enemy, I don't really see. I don't know. I don't see me teaming up with MAGA, because this is not the uniting issue that people want it to be. I want it to be that, but it would be enough if it just united the entire left to say, Luigi Mangione. There, I said it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I saw a CNN roundtable discussion about the H-1B visa, and one of the commentators, I forget who it was, pointed out that when Musk and Ramaswamy are talking about letting people come on the H-1B visa, they're only really talking about Indians and Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And she pointed out that the largest group, the highest educated and most wealthy immigrants that could come on an H-1B visa are from Nigeria, and they're blacklisted. So
Jesus,
make that make sense.
Can't make this up.
Probably because they want more money, probably because they're better educated.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what this is about. It's really about increasing the wealth of Elon and Trump and Ramaswamy and all the people that he appointed to his cabinet.
Yep.
They are going to spend the next 4 years just screwing us all over to increase their own wealth. That's all this is about.
Yeah, that's all it's ever been about. That's all these people do. There's no hiding it. And people are hopefully just at least waking up to the fact that that's who these people are, and stop fanboying for these people, because it's disgusting when you do that. I've got a real quick anecdotal story about an immigrant that I used to work with. He was a North Korean dissident. His name was Loy. And I worked for the Navy Education and Training Program. I was a database administrator up in Pensacola for 5 years. And they had the Navy Education Training, and I'm not violating security by saying this, the Navy Education Training Program has a hybrid system that is a Oracle database and a SQL database, and these things have to talk to each other, and it's relatively difficult, or it was back in 2012, to get these two databases to talk to each other. And the team of guys that they had managing those systems for a decade or more had always struggled with the communication between that Oracle database and that SQL database. Well, there was a guy who escaped North Korea, and he happened to have some background in tech. And I don't know how one of the guys that was on this database team knew this guy who wasn't working for the government yet, wasn't even a citizen yet, connected the dots. But Loy was so good at what he did that they got his immigration status expedited, and they got him a top secret fucking clearance. And because Loy was the only person on Earth who could fix this communication problem between these databases, and Lloyd barely spoke English. He had to have an interpreter with him most of the time I saw him in the building. But yeah, he was the only guy who could fix that database problem. And amen. That's to incredible. Lloyd. Yeah. He was a nice guy too.
So yeah, I don't think this fight is gonna last too long. I don't know.
Either, like you said, Trump has sided with Musk. So then if MAGA doesn't side with Trump, who's MAGA going to cling to? And where the fuck is J.D. Vance, by the way, and his Indian wife?
Well, that's a good point.
In all this. I don't know. I was going to say that in terms of resolution, somebody's going to have to acquiesce. And I think you've already pointed out that they have, and that's Trump has acquiesced to Musk.
Yeah, but I think what mostly will happen is they'll just stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And then the rank and file MAGA will forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Other news. An Azerbaijan airline flight that was going from Baku, Azerbaijan to Grozny, Russia, fell out of the sky. There's video of this too.
Yeah.
Fell out of the sky the other day. Most people are saying that it looks like Russia shot it down with their anti-aircraft missile or something. The airline is saying that. The United States intelligence is saying that. And I just want to point out, this happens.
Mm-hmm.
This has happened before. It'll happen again.
Yep.
In 2014, most of you might remember this. A Malaysian airline flight was shot down. It was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur in eastern Ukraine. And there was a fight for a while about who shot it down. Russia said it was Ukraine. Ukraine said it was Russia. In the end, most everyone agrees it was Russia because the missile came from a Russian-controlled part of Ukraine at the time. But that killed 298 people. Another famous one, and there's a documentary about this one on Netflix, or at least there was when I used to have Netflix. A Korea Airlines flight that was shot down in 1988 or 1983. 269 people on board. Now, on that one, the flight did fly into Russian airspace for some reason. Don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But still, they knew it was a passenger plane, and they shot it down.
Yeah.
But just so you know, it's not only Russia. The United States shot down an Iranian airliner in 1988.
I remember that.
Killing 290 people. Look, these anti-aircraft systems, they know they're passenger airliners when they're shooting them down. You can't tell me otherwise. The airlines have transponders on them. Unless you're sitting there thinking, well, that must be a fake transponder or something. I don't know how you make that mistake.
Yeah.
Now, the United States also shot down one of our own F-18s this week.
Yep.
That I kind of understand how that mistake can happen because military aircraft doing operations do not have transponders. But that still seems, I mean, I'm sure that was human error.
Well, I work with a guy who used to work for one of the fighter squadrons over here at Eglin Air Force Base. And I was asking him, how could this even possibly happen? And he was trying to explain to me that there's a system between the ship and the plane, basically a switch for friendly fire so that there's no chance that this would happen. And apparently that was, according to his assessment, that was not enabled on either the ship or on the plane. And so things got haywire. It's going to, if we ever get to see the actual official story of where the breakdown was that allowed that to happen. But I guess the pilot and the navigator or whoever is the second seat in that plane, they both ejected safely and they were rescued from what I understand.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that other plane crash that just happened yesterday?
Oh, the South Korean?
This wasn't a shot down plane, but it was a Boeing plane.
Yeah. No landing gear on the
there's video of this. Watch it if you want. The plane is coming onto a runway under controlled descent with no landing gear down, and it just went off the end of the runway and crashed into the barrier at the end of the runway and exploded. We don't know what happened yet. There's some people are saying there was a bird strike. I don't know how a bird strike on an engine would cause your landing gear to not go down. Seems to me like it was probably some kind of mechanical failure. I don't know, but it's pretty dramatic footage that you can see.
If they obviously they knew it was coming down with no landing gear. I don't know how many other control systems that might have been compromised that made it necessary to come down in the closest available runway, but that they had them come down for a belly landing on a runway that at the end of it had a fucking barrier. It's weird to me. And they had initially said that there were survivors. There were 4 or 5 survivors. I don't know that that's still true.
The last I saw was 2.
Yeah, there was 100. I saw the count updated for the deceased to be 174 or something. That's pretty close to what the manifest was.
Yeah.
That's awful. Yeah.
Yeah, that was either a mechanical failure or a bird strike. We'll probably know in a few weeks. But yeah, so that happened in Korea. It was Korea Airlines. I've flown on Korea Airlines before. I don't know if it's still like this, but what I found interesting about Korea Airlines in the early 2000s is that it still had all the flight attendants were young, pretty females.
Of course.
Like they used to be here in the 70s.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's see. We're going to talk some more about Korea stuff first. And we've talked about this before, but North Korean soldiers are fighting in Ukraine and they're dying in large numbers. But John Kirby, the National Security Council spokesperson, who we've talked about before because we don't like what he has to say about Gaza, but he came out and said that North Korean soldiers are choosing to kill themselves rather than get captured by Ukraine, and the theory is that they don't want to face reprisals back in North Korea. I don't know. I mean, that is an authoritarian regime. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense to me that they would be avoiding capture because, and if they're doing so out of fear for reprisals back home, maybe they're talking about reprisals for their family that's back there.
Yeah, that could be.
But it seems to me that if they were being captured, they would immediately be asking for
asylum.
Yeah, asylum.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that? I have to look that up now. If you're fighting against a country and then you surrender to that country and ask for asylum, the fact that you were fighting against that country, does that disqualify you for asylum?
I doubt it. Asylum cases are usually handled on a case-by-case basis. They could possibly grant that.
Huh. Interesting.
Especially since I would say they could argue they're fighting against their will.
Oh, fucking A. I'm sure they're conscripts. I don't imagine too many North Korean soldiers are enlisting. It's compulsory.
Yeah, I don't know that. I've been to the DMZ. I've been to Panmunjom. I've seen the North Korean soldiers on the other side of the border, just 50 feet away from me. One thing that I did know is that I know the American and South Korean soldiers that serve there are required to be at least 6 feet tall. And if you assume that North Korea is also putting their biggest soldiers on the border, they're small. I'm only 5'8", and I was bigger than most of them.
Of course. Jeez.
So malnourishment's a thing in North Korea. And by the way, I just want to point out, because Madeline Pendleton, communist business owner that's pretty popular on TikTok, although lately she's had a falling out, being accused of being racist. I don't know the details of that, but I stopped following her when she did a post about North Korea and how we only think it's bad because of Western propaganda. That's bullshit. First of all, North Korea is not a communist country. It's an authoritarian dictatorship. The people have absolutely no power there. Yeah. None. so to tout it as some kind of communist utopia is insane to me. But yeah, I don't know if I'm sure the North Korean soldiers are probably all conscripted, but at the other hand, that might be one of the best ways to not be eating dirt. Because if you there's a documentary I watched years ago called "Children of the Secret State." A North Korean filmmaker did a documentary while in North Korea and then escaped and released it, and it's kind of incredible. It shows people impoverished beyond belief. Literally, there was this scene where this woman is feeding dirt to her children because she doesn't have any food to feed them.
I need to look that up. I haven't seen that or heard of that.
Definitely, yeah, it's pretty good. But anyway, on the other side of the Korean border, we talked about this before. They had impeached their president. And we talked about how there's a constitutional court that's going to uphold or not uphold that impeachment. Well, there's 3 vacant seats on that court. It's supposed to be a 9-member court, and there's only 6 because of retirements. The seats are different. The president gets to appoint 3. The National Assembly appoints 3, and I don't remember how the other 3 get. But the 3 seats that are vacant are all the National Assembly appointed seats. The president has to approve those appointments, but it's more seen as a formality, not that he actually has to approve them. He just signs something, and then they take their seat. Well, the court needs a 2/3 vote to uphold the impeachment, which would be 6 and 9. They can still uphold the impeachment with the 3 empty seats, but it would have to be unanimous. They'd need all 6 justices to vote. So the assembly wants to fill those seats, especially since 2 of the appointees are from the left-leaning party that is doing these impeachments, and only 1 is from the president's right-leaning party. So it would probably help them get the votes they need. Well, the acting president, who used to be the prime minister, he refused to approve those appointments. So they impeached him too. So he's removed.
So
now there's a different, like, they have a chain of succession like we have.
Right.
So the next guy down is now the acting president. And they're saying if he refuses to appoint those justices too, he's going to get impeached too. And this just might go on for who knows how long.
Wow. That's fascinating. Their system over there is so, to me, it seems it's complicated relative to the mundane system that we have. But Jesus Christ, that's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, they have a history of like military dictatorships. So their system is kind of designed to easily get rid of those should they occur again.
Yeah.
At least that's what I think. So yeah, they are on their 3rd acting president, who also may get impeached, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, it's definitely entertainment. There's I wonder how the uncertainty in that system over there is affecting the average person. Are they impacted by this at all? And
I don't know. I do have a good friend from Korea, but he lives in Canada now, so I don't know. I don't know if he's keeping up with all that stuff. But I should reach out to him and see what he thinks about it. Although his dad is, he grew up in Hong Kong because his dad was an ambassador to Hong Kong. So
wow,
he's connected to to the powers that be in Korea, so he may have a different view on it than your average Korean.
Yeah. You mentioned Canada. You mean the 51st state of the United States, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Greenland being
funny because Trump is pining for Canada to become the 51st state, but there's also people on the left that are pining for Canada to take over California, New York, and some of the left-leaning states. So that's funny.
And the same with Greenland. I guess Denmark made a counteroffer to Trump's bullshit posturing, and we're going to buy Greenland. Greenland says, no, we'll buy the United States. Fuck you. I'm completely in favor of that. There are people that are pleading with Greenland or Denmark to buy the United States. I'd be completely fine with that. And in fact, there was some Danish parliamentarian that said something about, okay, well, you need to give us back New Amsterdam, which is New York.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I've been to New York for vacations a number of times. There's the whole fucking street, New Amsterdam. That whole section is still labeled that.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. But yes, Denmark, please buy us. Use a TikTok coupon or anything. Just buy us.
Oh, speaking of TikTok, Trump asked the Supreme Court to delay the ban.
Yeah, he filed a brief asking that he be the decider in this or some shit. I don't. It's almost as though, because from everything I've seen, it's a done deal that it's law, right? It's been signed.
It is law, but it is built into the law that there can be a 90-day extension on the ban, and that's what Trump is asking the Supreme Court to enact. Because because the last judge that heard it declined to enact that delay. TikTok did ask for that in the last court hearing, but the judge declined.
I don't know. I've had people asking me lately, do you really think it's the app's going to go away? No, I don't. I really don't. And the worst case scenario that I've seen is that if everything goes, and I've seen the DOJ response to TikTok's filing for the January 10th hearing, their response is fucking venomous. It's like, no, fuck you, go away. But I think the worst case scenario is that if the ban gets fully enforced, whenever, it's simply that the app stores for Android and Apple can't carry it. That's it. There's really nothing beyond that. All this hyperbole about, oh, if you use a VPN, the Gestapo is going to kick in your door and drag you off to a fucking renditioning camp in Pakistan or some shit. None of this is true. None of this is true. It won't be available in the App Store. So the app that's on your phone will still function. You'll have to sideload updates when they come out. And of course, a lot of people won't be able to do that. And I'm not even sure you can do that on an Apple phone, that you can sideload an app unless you're jailbroken.
I don't know, but you can use TikTok on a computer too. It's web-based.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And they've improved that interface vastly over the past few years for the PC.
But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think it's going away either. There's also been talk that they've made a new algorithm that's exclusively for the United States, and some people have argued that that's already been released. I don't know, man. I am not seeing political content anymore. I'm really not. I started seeing people I haven't seen in forever, like Straw Hat Goofy, who just talks about movies. I hadn't seen him in forever, and now I see him all the time. I don't actually see you on my FYP anymore. I see you on my friend when I go to the friends setting.
Yeah.
I used to see you on my FYP. So I don't know if they've changed the algorithm or not. Some people have argued that they may have already done that. Well,
what you're stating basically supports the idea that they've changed the algorithm, because your flow of content has changed. And I've noticed too that it's much more touchy in terms of, if I unintentionally spend too much time on one video and that video is outside the scope of what my chosen topics are, because there is a setting in there where you can reset and then choose your areas of interest, that stuff related to that outside content starts to flood into my FYP. So I wonder if what you do is go to your favorite political content creators, me, fuck you, and spend a little extra time on those videos and see what happens, because my FYP has stayed pretty much the same, because my typical MO is that I'll do the four things: like, share, repost, and comment on things that I think are worthy of other people seeing. And that basically guarantees. And that's another thing too, is people have bitched about followers coming on and liking a lot of their videos in succession, that somehow shadow bans you. No, the fuck it doesn't. What that does is it ensures that person who just liked a shitload of your content is going to see a shitload of your content. That's what that does. It affects the person who applied the likes. It's not affecting you. Your content isn't getting circulated because your content is shit. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how it works really. I've never had anything go viral. I haven't made a TikTok really in forever. But I feel like the engagement, it'll show it to a handful of people, and the engagement of the initial few is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So if the first 20 people that see your thing just scroll by, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I will admit, and I've told you this, is that I've done lately, because I got really pissed off with TikTok. I'd put out a video and it'll get single-digit views, and so I was bitching to a friend of mine about this, and she said, no, just buy a sponsored post. So, like for $7, I can buy a thing where it's guaranteed to get in front of at least 1,300 people in 24 hours. And I've mulled doing this, and I said, oh, fuck it, I'll do it. Because her point was that this is like entertainment for us, right? I mean, yes, some of us are on real missions and social political goals on the app, but at the bottom line, it's entertainment. And $6 is less than a Netflix subscription for a month. And so spend that to get the exposure, to get the engagement, to promote your content because it's entertaining to you. I exist on there to be entertaining to myself and to get kick-ass recipes for things. But that's my purpose in being there, is to entertain myself. And if I spend $6 a week on promoting a specific post, providing it can get through review, because that's the biggest problem, is that I'll say, okay, here's $7, promote this post, and they'll say it's under review, and they'll come back and say, nah, we're not gonna promote that. They tell me no.
That must be what happened with the Leftist Lens thing, because they had a special, and I paid $1 to promote a post on the Leftist Lens TikTok account.
Yeah,
and it never happened. I haven't looked in a while, but for weeks after, it still said it was in review.
Really?
Yeah, like the post is up. They're reviewing whether to promote it or not.
Huh?
And they never did.
Because
if I paid $6 for that, I'd be pissed. But I only paid $1, so
yeah. And in what I've learned is that when they deny the request to promote it, they'll credit the account for whatever you paid for that. So I've got a $7 credit sitting for one of the posts that they said they weren't going to promote. It's really hard for me to get my post promoted. I've got to really watch my language and not be brandishing weapons and torturing people in the video, because they don't like that, apparently. This falls under odds and ends, doesn't it?
I guess. I don't know. I'm checking out our Leftist Lens TikTok account, see if there's.
Yeah, you need to send me the login for that, because I lost all that. I'd like to put our clips of this up there. But let's jump into odds and ends. Squid Game. I tried to start watching it last night, and I don't remember feeling this way when I watched the season 1, but it left me wanting to abandon it, go learn Korean, and then come back and watch it in the original audio, because the English overdub is so over the top that it was difficult for me to watch. I probably got halfway through episode 1, but I don't know.
Of season 1 or of season 2?
Season 2.
By the way, there is a notice. Our promotion was denied. We did not pass review.
Do you remember what the video was?
Then our account got suspended.
What?
Yeah, it says your account is temporarily suspended.
Temporarily?
We received a reporter complaint about our account from people on TikTok.
What the fuck?
This was back in October. I don't know if we're still suspended. Anyway. Yeah.
We were targeted and we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Oh my God. We don't have, has there been multiple strikes on that account?
Not that I'm aware of.
Right. And temporarily, I haven't seen a temporary suspension in years. They stopped doing that a long time ago, I thought. Wow. Okay. Fuck.
Yeah. I don't know. We only have 6 videos.
I know, because if I had send me the goddamn login for that thing and
Yes, sir. I don't know what it is. I'm going to have to reset it.
Okay. Then I'll upload the past stuff if I can.
I'm pretty sure you're the one who set the password. That's why I don't know. I'm just logged in.
No, you had some kind of password of Joe Biden eats children's thyroids or something.
Yeah, that was temporary though.
Oh, it was.
All right, whatever. So anyway, I took my kids to see The Lion King Mustafa.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I noticed, it was the music was done by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I almost said Noriega again. Every time I say Manuel, I want to say Noriega. But the music didn't grab me that much, but the story was really good. I really liked it. It's the story of Mustafa, you know, Simba's dad from the original Lion King, and it follows him from his birth through him becoming the king that he is at the beginning of the Lion King.
Mm.
And it's a good story. So
I'll trust you on that one.
I liked it. My kids liked it too. My parents also went and they didn't get it. They were confused because you're looking at a bunch of lions that look more or less the same. There's like subtle differences so you can visually identify them.
Yeah.
But they were getting confused, like confusing the different lions and stuff. I don't know. It was the conversation I had with them that my kids had with them after when they were trying to explain the movie to them was hilarious.
You're avoiding Gladiator 2. You're waiting for me to watch it to let you know whether it's crap.
Yeah, I don't have the time to commit to watching stuff that you do, and it's 2.5 hours, and I don't know if I want to commit to that if it's not good. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. That seems intimidating. I'll probably get into it this week and I'll let you know. I just finished the series Ozark, which again, I'm late to the game on that. And I was balls deep in that series. That was so good. I'm so pissed off that they killed Ruth in the end. Ruth was my favorite character. But yeah, it's close to Breaking Bad level good. But yeah, I finished that up last night.
Yeah, that's good. I did watch all of Squid Game season 2. I really enjoyed it, except the one thing I will say, if you're the type of person that likes resolution, because this did not feel like a season, it felt like half a season. And there's another season next year, but I feel like this is the thing where they've made one season and split it in 2 because there's no resolution at the end.
Oh, okay.
It's full on in the peak of storytelling, and then it's just that's the end.
Oh wow.
So that's frustrating to me because I want to know what happens next and I have to wait a year to find out. But it's really good. And just when you're watching it, people, please try to remember that the entire premise of Squid Game is rich fucks getting poor people to kill each other for money. They do that in real life. They do that in real life. That's what Luigi was fighting against. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody wouldn't know that and not see that, but I guess it's painfully apparent that some people still aren't getting it. But they're getting closer every day, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it is 60 degrees here in Erie, Pennsylvania on December 29th. That's unusual, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, my son was fixing to go on a snowboarding tour of the Northeast this past week, and he's abandoned those plans because it's so warm up in New Hampshire that the snow is in terrible condition. And we had massive storms here last night with tornado watches and warnings, and we got battered all night long. There's tree branches all over my front yard. But global warming, climate change. It's real.
Yeah, it is real. It is scary, but this part of it I can deal with.
Yeah, I know you like the warmth.
I mean, it was just like 3 weeks ago that we had 4 feet of snow. 3 or 4 weeks ago, that was crazy.
Oh, that's right. You had that big.
Yeah, it's all gone now.
Yeesh.
But
all right.
What do you think we're going to be talking about in 2025? This is our last episode of 2024.
Oh my God, it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to be talking a lot about the economy. Excuse me, the economy and how the economy is going to suffer deeply over the next year. Yeah, I think that's going to be a ongoing theme that we're going to be having plenty of ammunition to talk about.
I think we're going to be talking about that and war. I think the United States is going to get involved in a war in Trump's second term somewhere. More so than we already are, like direct conflict. I don't know who it's going to be against, but I feel like that's going to happen.
I think the probability is high, very high. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year and the at least 3 years following that, and we're here for it. We're on it. We're going to be here. You can at least rely on that.
Yep.
All right, bud.
All right, let's call it an episode then. Everybody, like, subscribe, leave a review, tell your friends, whatever.
Yes, please. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week. Adios.